The room went dead silent as Princess Anne leaned in, her voice like a surgical blade, and told Camilla to her face, "You are not the queen. You are merely the king's consort." This wasn't a family spat. It was a declaration of war. For 20 years, while the world focused on headlines about Prince William and Prince Harry, the most disciplined woman in the royal family has allegedly been conducting a quiet, calculated campaign to dismantle Camilla's legitimacy from within palace walls. Princess Anne doesn't shout. She doesn't leak to the tabloids. And she never makes a scene. Instead, she uses protocol as a weapon and tradition as a trap. According to this narrative, she has executed a series of sharp, calculated moves designed to remind both the world and Camilla exactly where the true bloodline begins and ends. From a supposed legal exemption she persuaded the late Queen Elizabeth II to sign, to long-standing personal dynamics she could leverage, and is portrayed as playing a long game that would make even Machiavelli blush. The public may see smiles on the balcony, but a closer look suggests subtle distance, measured body language, restrained gestures, and carefully maintained formality. Why would the king's sister be so determined to keep the queen consort in the shadows? Some speculate it stems from loyalty to Queen Elizabeth II, others see it as a quiet tribute to Princess Diana, while some interpret it as a strategic effort to protect the House of Windsor from perceived instability. In this deep dive, the narrative claims to break down a series of alleged moves year by year, highlighting what it describes as an invisible war overlooked by mainstream media. It promises to reveal a tense confrontation before the coronation and specific protocol decisions that reportedly left Camilla more isolated than ever. If you think you understand the royal family, this perspective suggests there's more beneath the surface, especially when it comes to Princess Anne. Stay tuned as the story builds toward what it calls the ultimate checkmate, years in the making. To understand the roots of this rivalry, we go back to April 2005. To the public, the wedding of King Charles III and Camilla appeared to be a long-awaited happy ending. But behind palace doors, the narrative suggests that Princess Anne saw it very differently, and may have already been preparing her next move. What followed has been described as a calculated legal ambush. While the public focused on the guest list, Princess Anne was focused on the order of precedence. In the world of the Windsors, how low you bow, and who bows to whom, isn't just etiquette. It's a definitive map of power, and reportedly went directly to her mother, Queen Elizabeth II, with a demand that was as cold as it was strategic. She requested a formal written adjustment to royal protocol, what some have described as the origin of a so-called curtsy exemption. According to this narrative, Anne's reasoning was precise. As a princess born into the direct bloodline of the monarchy, she believed she should not be required to bow to someone who had married into the family, particularly someone with Camilla's controversial past. Psychologically, this is framed as a classic example of status anchoring. By securing such an exemption, the story suggests that every time Princess Anne entered a room, her actions reinforced a subtle but powerful message. Rather than performing traditional gestures of deference, she maintained a composed distance, one that, to observers, could signal hierarchy without a word being spoken. Imagine the atmosphere in those private palace corridors. Camilla, as the future queen consort, standing in expectation of customary respect, while Princess Anne passes with measured restraint and unwavering composure. Whether intentional or not, such moments would naturally draw attention within an institution built on symbolism. The narrative goes further, suggesting that Anne may have influenced other members of the royal family, including Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, to maintain a similar distance. If true, this would have created a visible divide, while King Charles III worked to integrate Camilla into the royal structure and appeared to reinforce the boundaries of the original bloodline. Experts often describe this kind of behavior as gatekeeping, controlling access to status and legitimacy within a closed system. In this interpretation, the absence of a curtsy becomes more than a gesture, it becomes a statement. Importantly, much of this remains speculative and based on interpretation rather than confirmed royal policy. The British royal family rarely comments on internal protocol dynamics, and many such claims circulate without official verification. Still, the story argues that this moment set the tone for the next 2 decades, establishing a dynamic in which every gesture, or lack of one, carried meaning. In this telling, it signaled to Camilla that respect within the institution would not simply be granted, but continually negotiated. This moment set the tone for everything that followed. According to this narrative, it made one thing clear: Any respect Camilla earned within the palace would have to be fought for, and that Princess Anne would remain a central obstacle. But as the story moves forward, it suggests that Anne didn't rely solely on protocol or hierarchy. Instead, she is portrayed as drawing from her own past, specifically, a deeply personal connection, to create what some interpret as a more subtle form of pressure. That connection is Andrew Parker Bowles. If the earlier protocol dispute was symbolic, this next element is framed as something more psychological. To understand the dynamic, the narrative points to Andrew Parker Bowles, widely known as Camilla's former husband, whom she married in 1973 while King Charles III was serving in the Royal Navy. What's often noted in historical accounts is that before his marriage to Camilla, Andrew Parker Bowles had a close relationship with Princess Anne during the early 1970s. While they did not marry, reportedly due in part to religious considerations, the two are known to have remained on good terms over the decades. From one perspective, this long-standing friendship simply reflects the tight-knit nature of aristocratic and royal circles, where social and personal connections often overlap. Andrew Parker Bowles has continued to appear at royal events and gatherings as a respected former military officer and long-time acquaintance of the family. However, the narrative you're working with frames this differently. It suggests that Princess Anne's continued closeness with Andrew Parker Bowles may carry an additional layer of meaning, one that could, intentionally or not, create an uncomfortable overlap of past and present for Camilla. At formal events, whether at Ascot, private gatherings, or major royal occasions, the presence of shared history can naturally shape interpersonal dynamics. Observers sometimes point to body language, familiarity, and ease of interaction as indicators of long-standing bonds that predate current roles. From a psychological angle, this situation is sometimes described as an anchor of memory, where the presence of someone tied to the past reinforces earlier chapters of a person's life. In this interpretation, Andrew Parker Bowles becomes a living reminder of intertwined relationships within the royal circle. That said, much of this remains interpretive rather than factual. There is no official indication that Princess Anne maintains relationships for strategic reasons, and public appearances alone don't confirm intent. Still, within this narrative, the idea is clear. Proximity, history, and symbolism can all play a role in how relationships are perceived. And in an institution like the monarchy, where every gesture is observed, those perceptions can take on a life of their own. According to this narrative, the dynamic goes even deeper, framing Princess Anne as quietly reinforcing her own image as a dignified, untouchable figure within the monarchy, while Camilla is still seen, in some circles, as someone who entered the story later. The portrayal suggests that Anne uses her long-standing connection with Andrew Parker Bowles as both a social buffer and a symbolic reminder of the past. In this interpretation, his presence reflects a chapter of royal history that Camilla might prefer to leave behind, particularly the period marked by complex personal relationships and public scrutiny. It's also suggested that Anne has seamlessly integrated Andrew Parker Bowles into her social and ceremonial world, maintaining a warm familiarity with him, while keeping her interactions with Camilla more formal and reserved. Whether intentional or not, this contrast can create a noticeable difference in tone, especially within the highly structured environment of the royal court. In such a setting, proximity and acceptance carry weight. Being closely aligned with Princess Anne, often regarded as one of the most respected and disciplined members of the royal family, can elevate one's standing. By contrast, any perceived distance may naturally invite speculation about internal dynamics. Within this narrative, Anne's decades-long friendship with Andrew Parker Bowles is framed as one of her most subtle moves, requiring no public statements, no controversy, just the quiet consistency of presence. A familiar face at key events can speak volumes in a world built on symbolism. As the story progresses, it shifts from private relationships to public imagery, suggesting that Princess Anne extends this perceived influence onto the global stage through her appearance and presentation. In the context of the British monarchy, clothing is rarely just about style, it often carries meaning. It can signal duty, rank, and identity. This is where Princess Anne is frequently noted for her distinctive choices. While Camilla often appears in soft fabrics, pastel tones, and elegant hats, styles traditionally associated with royal consorts, Princess Anne is well known for wearing military uniforms at major state occasions. As Colonel of the Blues and Royals, she is one of the few female royals to regularly appear in full ceremonial regalia. This creates a striking visual contrast. Anne's attire emphasizes structure, discipline, and service, qualities closely associated with Queen Elizabeth II's legacy. Standing beside her, Camilla's softer presentation can reflect a different aspect of royal life: diplomacy, approachability, and public engagement. Rather than a competition, these differences can also be understood as complementary roles within the modern monarchy. Each reflects a different dimension of royal duty, one rooted in tradition and service, the other in connection and representation. Still, as this narrative suggests, in an institution where every image is analyzed, even visual contrasts can shape perception, intentionally or otherwise. According to this narrative, the strategy extends even further into what some describe as legacy mirroring. The idea is that Princess Anne understands how deeply the British public, and especially the palace's old guard, value stability and continuity. By maintaining a personal style that has remained largely unchanged for decades, sharp tailoring, practical hair, and a no-nonsense presentation, and is often seen as projecting consistency. In many ways, she reflects the steady image associated with her mother, Queen Elizabeth II, whose reign was defined by discipline and continuity. In contrast, Camilla has undergone a visible public transformation over the years, evolving from a controversial figure into a more accepted royal presence. This shift has included changes in styling, public image, and role within the monarchy. While some interpret this as reinvention, others simply see it as part of adapting to royal responsibilities. Within the narrative you're working with, however, Anne's consistency is framed as a subtle statement, one that suggests she has always remained aligned with royal expectations, without the need for reinvention. The focus then shifts to what's described as a protocol advantage. Princess Anne is widely recognized as one of the hardest working members of the royal family, often carrying out hundreds of engagements each year. Her reputation for dedication and efficiency is well documented. In royal life, visibility through service often translates into credibility. By maintaining such a demanding schedule, and reinforces her position as a key working royal. This naturally creates a contrast with others whose roles differ in scope and style, including Camilla, whose duties are often more focused on representation and patronage. From one perspective, this isn't competition. It's simply division of responsibility. But within this narrative, it's interpreted as a strategic advantage. Consistent service builds an image that is difficult to challenge. Observers have also noted differences in how senior royals carry themselves during public events. Princess Anne is known for her formal, composed demeanor, often maintaining clear personal space and a professional presence during processions and ceremonies. This can sometimes be perceived as distance, though it may simply reflect her disciplined approach to royal duty. In contrast, Camilla often engages more openly in conversation and interaction, reflecting a different style of public connection. These contrasting approaches can shape how moments are captured and interpreted by the media and the public. Even jewelry choices can carry meaning within the royal family. Princess Anne frequently wears pieces with deep personal or historical significance, many connected to Queen Elizabeth II or the broader Windsor lineage. These items often symbolize continuity and heritage. Meanwhile, when Camilla wears crown jewels, it reflects her official role as queen consort, representing the institution rather than personal legacy. Ultimately, while this narrative frames these differences as part of a calculated strategy, much of it remains open to interpretation. In a monarchy built on symbolism, even the smallest details, style, spacing, or accessories, can be read in many different ways depending on perspective. This next section of the narrative frames the contrast in even sharper terms, suggesting that while one figure represents inherited legacy, the other is still seen as stepping into a role shaped by history. In this interpretation, Princess Anne is portrayed as embodying continuity, someone who is the monarchy, while Camilla is positioned as adapting to it. The result, according to this perspective, is a perceived imbalance in authenticity, where one represents lineage and the other representation. The story then builds toward a pivotal moment, the coronation of King Charles III in May 2023. As the world prepared for this historic event, Camilla, after decades of evolving public perception, was set to be crowned alongside him. However, according to various unverified reports and royal commentary, tension behind closed doors may have surfaced during a private gathering on the eve of the ceremony. Some accounts claim that a disagreement arose regarding the use of the title Queen Consort. Following the wishes of Queen Elizabeth II, this was the official designation intended for Camilla. Yet, as the coronation approached, the shorter title Queen began appearing more frequently in formal settings. Within this narrative, Princess Anne is said to have viewed this shift as more than symbolic, interpreting it as a matter tied to the structure and tradition of the monarchy itself. One widely circulated but unconfirmed claim describes a moment where Anne directly addressed Camilla, emphasizing the distinction between queen and queen consort. While the exact wording remains speculative, the story frames it as a sharp reminder of how royal titles are rooted in both tradition and definition. From a broader perspective, this reflects a long-standing reality of monarchy. Titles carry layered meanings, often distinguishing between inherited authority and roles acquired through marriage. Psychologically, the narrative presents this as a form of status clarification, reinforcing hierarchy at a moment when symbolism was at its peak. However, it's important to note that there is no official confirmation of such a confrontation, and much of this remains based on interpretation rather than documented fact. Following the coronation, observers did note an interesting visual dynamic involving Princess Anne's ceremonial role. She served as gold stick in waiting, a traditional position responsible for the monarch's personal security during major state occasions. On coronation day, Anne rode on horseback behind the royal procession in full military uniform, an image that stood out globally. This created a striking visual. As Camilla participated in the ceremonial aspects of being crowned, Princess Anne appeared in a position symbolizing protection, duty, and authority. For many viewers, it highlighted the different ways senior royals contribute to the institution, through both representation and service. Rather than a rivalry, this moment can also be understood as a powerful display of complementary roles within the monarchy. Camilla representing the ceremonial and symbolic side of the crown. Princess Anne representing duty, discipline, and operational support. Still, as your narrative suggests, such imagery can be interpreted in multiple ways, especially in an institution where every detail, from titles to positioning, carries historical weight. According to this narrative, the coronation visuals carried a deeper symbolic message. By serving as the king's protector, Princess Anne was seen as positioning herself as a figure of strength and continuity behind King Charles III. Every major camera angle capturing the king and Camilla also included and composed, uniformed, and watchful, creating a powerful visual contrast. In this interpretation, it wasn't about overshadowing the moment, but about reinforcing presence. The imagery suggested that while the king holds the crown and Camilla shares the stage, Princess Anne represents duty, protection, and institutional memory. The aftermath of the alleged private confrontation, though unverified, has been described in this narrative as creating a social chilling effect. The idea is that when a highly respected senior royal like Princess Anne appears firm or distant, it can influence how others within the circle behave, reinforcing existing hierarchies. The story then connects this to a broader motive, safeguarding the future of the monarchy. Princess Anne is known to be close to her nephew Prince William, who, along with his children, represents the next generation of the House of Windsor. In this framing, her actions are interpreted as protecting that future, ensuring stability and continuity as the monarchy evolves. From this perspective, the message is clear. The crown is not just a symbol of status, but a responsibility, one that, in this narrative, Camilla supports as queen consort rather than defines. As the timeline moves into 2024, the focus shifts to a period of real-world challenge. Following the cancer diagnosis of King Charles III, the monarchy faced increased public scrutiny and responsibility. During such times, senior royals often step up to maintain visibility and continuity. Princess Anne, already known for her intense work ethic, continued to carry out a high number of public engagements. Her consistent presence reinforced her reputation as one of the most dependable working royals. At the same time, Camilla also maintained her duties, though with a different pace and focus, balancing public appearances with the personal realities of supporting the king during a difficult period. Within the narrative you're working with, this difference is framed as a workload contrast, suggesting that visibility directly translates to influence. However, in reality, royal roles are often distributed based on function, health, and circumstance rather than competition. Still, one thing remains clear: in moments of uncertainty, visibility matters. Whether through public engagements, ceremonial roles, or behind-the-scenes support, each senior royal contributes differently to maintaining the stability of the institution. And as this story suggests, those differences, whether strategic or simply practical, continue to shape how the public interprets the inner workings of the royal family. According to this narrative, the events of 2024 mark another shift in perception, one where Princess Anne is seen as taking on an even more central role during a time of uncertainty for King Charles III. As the king focused on his health, Anne's continued visibility and steady presence led some observers to view her as a stabilizing force within the monarchy. In this interpretation, her consistency subtly positioned her as a figure the public could rely on, while Camilla's appearances, though still significant, were perceived as more supportive in nature. The story then introduces what it calls an information gatekeeping phase. It suggests that, during periods when access to the king was naturally more limited, communication and coordination within the royal household became more structured. As the king's sister and a senior working royal, Princess Anne would naturally play a key role in maintaining continuity alongside figures like Prince William. However, it's important to note that there is no confirmed evidence of any deliberate exclusion. In reality, such arrangements are typically managed by palace staff and advisors to ensure efficiency and the king's well-being. Still, within this narrative, these developments are framed as a form of structural prioritization, where those closest in terms of duty and lineage take on more visible operational roles, while Camilla's position remains focused on her responsibilities as queen consort. Public appearances have also drawn attention. In photographs and events, Princess Anne is often seen close to King Charles III, reflecting both her ceremonial roles and her practical responsibilities. This proximity can be interpreted in different ways, either as symbolic protection or simply as part of her assigned duties. The narrative also highlights a rare moment where Princess Anne publicly expressed a differing view on the idea of a slimmed-down monarchy, a concept sometimes associated with modernizing the royal structure. Her perspective emphasized maintaining a strong institutional framework, something she has consistently supported throughout her public life. Meanwhile, Camilla's role continues to center on representation, patronage, and supporting the king, particularly during challenging times. On the international stage, Princess Anne has remained active through overseas tours and diplomatic engagements, reinforcing long-standing relationships across the Commonwealth. Her experience and consistency in these roles have contributed to her reputation as a seasoned and reliable figure in royal diplomacy. As this narrative builds toward its conclusion, it reframes the entire dynamic, not as personal rivalry, but as a question of institutional preservation. In this view, Princess Anne's actions are interpreted as efforts to safeguard the continuity of the monarchy, especially with Prince William representing its future. The final moment highlighted is deeply rooted in real events following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Princess Anne accompanied her mother's coffin on its journey from Balmoral to Edinburgh and onward to London, a role that carried profound symbolic weight. This act resonated strongly with the public. It reflected duty, loyalty, and a visible connection to the late Queen's legacy. While Camilla was preparing to step fully into her role as Queen Consort, Princess Anne was seen honoring the past, standing as a bridge between generations. Rather than a strategic move, this moment can also be understood as a deeply personal and historical one, highlighting the unique roles each member of the royal family plays during times of transition. In the end, what this narrative presents as a silent vow may simply reflect something more enduring: Princess Anne's lifelong commitment to duty, and her place as one of the most steadfast figures in the modern history of the monarchy. According to this narrative, the final phase centers on legacy, specifically, how Princess Anne is seen as reinforcing the enduring influence of Queen Elizabeth II's era. In this interpretation, Anne represents a living bridge between past and present, someone who carries forward both the traditions and the standards set during her mother's reign. The story suggests that her role is not about resisting change for its own sake, but about ensuring that the core identity of the monarchy remains intact. Within this framing, Camilla's position as Queen Consort is acknowledged, but still viewed as distinct from the deeper, inherited legacy associated with the Windsor bloodline. The contrast is presented as one between institutional continuity and modern adaptation. The narrative concludes by portraying Princess Anne's long-standing approach as deliberate and disciplined, less about open conflict and more about quiet reinforcement of structure. Rather than engaging in public disputes, she is depicted as strengthening the monarchy internally, through duty, consistency, and adherence to tradition. It uses a powerful metaphor, not a battle fought loudly, but one managed through precision and control, protecting the institution from within rather than confronting it from the outside. In this version of events, the outcome is symbolic. While Camilla wears the crown alongside King Charles III, Princess Anne is framed as safeguarding something less visible but equally significant: the legacy, values, and internal hierarchy of the House of Windsor. Her guiding principles, as interpreted here, emphasize duty over personal emotion and the crown over individual roles. It's a perspective that aligns with her public reputation as one of the most disciplined and committed members of the royal family. As the story closes, it leaves the interpretation open-ended. Is Princess Anne a steadfast guardian of her mother's legacy? Or is this portrayal overstating internal tensions within the royal family? And is Camilla simply fulfilling her role as a supportive partner to the king in a modern monarchy? Ultimately, much of this remains speculative, shaped by observation, interpretation, and narrative framing rather than confirmed fact. But it does highlight one enduring truth. In the British monarchy, perception, symbolism, and legacy are often as powerful as reality itself.